Today on Commander Replay, we take another look at Henry's Bear Puncher Surrak list and find out if I can overcome a whole bunch of play mistakes. Next on Commander Replay. I want to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. We have 2 new Patreon supporters, and Eric Kowals and Jenny L. Eric and Jenny, you guys are awesome. If you want to help support the channel and vote on which decks I play next, feel free to check out my Patreon at the link below. And be sure to use the TCG affiliate player link as it helps support the channel and it doesn't cost you anything. Welcome back, everyone. Playing some more Surrak Dragonclaw today. Take a look at this opening hand. We've got 2 lands. We've got some things that untap lands with a Gruul Turf, which actually seems pretty good. I think I'm going to keep this. It doesn't have the card draw that I would like to see at this exact second, but I think we're just going to try to find our way into it. Praetor's Council is like a super late game kind of card. Prefer not to see it in the opener, but I think everything else is good enough that it's worth keeping, so we're going to do that. So this deck list was originally submitted by Henry back over the summer, and it was a deck called Bear Puncher. It was his take on a budget teamer deck that he built specifically to deal with some other high-power decks in his meta. He had moved shops, and the new group that he was playing with was much stronger than the old group that he was playing with. And the Bear Puncher deck was his take on that, and it's essentially a teamer ramp deck. So I'm playing with a version of the deck where if you watched the last video, I suggested a bunch of recommendations for the deck, so I'm playing with all the recommendations that I made. I believe the recommendations came to about $28, and they add a ton of gas. Because this is a ramp deck, there are a lot of powerful creatures in Teamer that are like $1 or $2 that really pump up the power of your deck. So, like Nezelhal is like $2. Added a Savage Ventmaw for more mana. They're super cheap, and just stuff like that. Like, you can find some really powerful 6-drops for Teamer on a budget, and that's what this deck is doing. So we have a lot of this creature-based ramp, which is always interesting. It's not specifically something that I love because I'm a white player, so I love to wrath away all the mana dorks. Nothing makes me happier than that. But in the absence of a wrath, these untap a land type creatures can be really powerful, and I forget if there's an infinite mana combo in there, but I know there's like some big mana combos. You know, if you start untapping these multiple mana producers with these type of things, you can do a lot of stuff. So anyway, that brings it to our turn 1. We draw into an island. Looks like we're going last in the turn order. I've been going last in the turn order a lot. Can't say I love that. We're going to crack this Terramorphic Expanse, get ourselves a forest. We have a lot of green mana in hand. Next turn, we'll probably go Magus and... Oh, God, the Leonin Arbiter. We just strip-mined ourselves. Oh, my God. Well, this is going to be bad. Opponent says restart. All right. Opponent's got the... Oh, man. All right, so opponent casts their Baird, Steward of Argive, and a Arcane Signet coming down for the partner opponent. Brings it back to our turn. There's a forest. Magus of the Candelabra into play. I can't believe I cracked the fetch into the Leonin Arbiter. That is purely a product of talking and trying to get through the intro and not truly registering what cards are actually in play. Going last in the turn order also makes it even better. I think that I would like to draw into. Would love to find some card draw. We have Tomorrow, Azami's Familiar. We've also got Nezelhal in the deck. Wouldn't mind seeing either of those. Got a white player at the table, but it's a Staxy white player, which means probably less board wipes than you typically expect. Mana Crypt flip on the Baird opponent. Had some indecision last turn about whether I was actually going to continue filming this game or not. And opponent said they had a good hand, and so, you know, I want to be respectful to them. So, going to play it out, even though I shot ourselves in the foot, so we're going to have to try to claw our way back into it. But as long as everything sticks, I've got a pretty sweet play lined up for next turn. There's a Sphere of Safety, so all the pillow forting. I forget how much removal's in this deck. Let's go have a look at it. Volcanic Offering, Freed from the Wheel, Tashana, Nezelhal, Woodfall Primus is a card. Rickthar, not tons and tons of removal. Being a white player, I usually, you know, jam-pack a deck full of removal. This deck is a little bit more about being proactive. Now, we do have ways to win through Sphere of Safety and things like that, but yeah. Opponent can attack our way with their commander. Yep, we're just going to go ahead and take that. Comes a Thought Vessel for the partner opponent. Also, the last time we played this deck, that was actually the time where the game got bugged and about 3/4 of the triggered abilities in the game stopped triggering, and that was a really big problem for us because we had many. Uh, that was a weird one, so hopefully that doesn't happen today. Never figured out why it happened, but my suspicion was it had something to do with an Immortal Sun that came in. Demir Signet coming in for opponent. There's a Freed from the Real. Is that infinite with blue mana on Magus? I think it is. Huh. Alright, let's think about this. We play Gruul Turf. So we float a mana. We play Gruul Turf. Maybe we have to go next turn. Well, if we play the blue... If we play the... Yeah, okay, let's get Gruul Turf. Next turn, I think we can go infinite and shoot everyone at the table. Alright. Float a green. Play Gruul Turf. Bounce the Forest. Use the Magus to untap the Gruul Turf. Play Voyaging Satyr. And hope all this holds up? Yeah, so if we, by paying 2 mana, we would untap 3 lands and generate an additional mana. Oh, yeah, that seems good. That seems really good. We just, can we actually do it this turn? We should be able to with the Voyaging Satyr running around. So Ronas coming into play for the Yorvo. Yorvo is in play, by the way. It's now a 7/7. It gets big. There's also a Hardened Scales in play for opponent. Been a little bit all over the place this game. Mana Crypt Flip for our opponent. That's a Nev Disc for opponent. Luckily it'll come in tap, so I think it'll be a turn too slow. Opponent going to send the Baird at us and the Leonin over to the partner opponent. Need to stay out of removal and kind of hope everyone taps out right here. There's a single white up for the Baird opponent. That's kind of scary, actually. Makes me not really want to just go for it. Problem is that Nev Disc. See if someone shoots it. Opponent pays for the Arbiter, cracks their fetch land. Gets a land. Here comes Thrasios into play. What do you guys think? Does the white player have a Swords or a Path? That's a Woodfall Primus. If we can make enough mana to get the Woodfall Primus, they would probably path the Woodfall Primus. How much mana can we actually make? Let's see. So we drop the island. We use the Gruul Turf. We untap the Gruul Turf. We tap the Gruul Turf. So we would use 1 to untap it, and then that would leave us with 3. We tap it again. Makes 5. That's 6. Puts us on Gilded Lotus. Doesn't get us to Woodfall Primus yet. So maybe we just go for Surrak. Seems fine. Yeah, I guess we wait. It does have Flash. Oh, we've already used the ability. Crap. Well, can't undo it. Cannot undo it. So I guess we go for the Gilded Lotus and hope we don't get blued up. Or should we just go for it? Should we just we've got the Praetor's Council. Although if it's a path, then we can't. 1, we won't get the land, and 2, we won't be able to get the Magus back with the Praetor's Council. Fish says they don't have removal. Let's try it. Who knows if they're being truthful or not. Play this Freed from the Real on our Magus. That has resolved. We'll untap 2 lands. Untap our creature. Discussing with opponents, they're trying to figure out the combo. We've got it in hand. Actually, I don't know if this goes infinite. Untap the creature. Oh no, I don't think it does yet. Oh no, I think I messed it up. So yeah, we would need, what, 1 more land that produces multiple, I think? I don't know if another basic does it. Opponent gonna do some attacking. Gonna send Yorvo and Ronas into the Baird opponent. Opponent blocks with their Baird, trying to soak up some of the damage. Mana Crypt Flip. Now the problem is that they untap with a Nev Disc, so they can just sit on that anytime they want to. Means that Woodfall Primus is probably our next best play. Or I guess also just sitting on our commander, waiting for the disc to go off, and then floating the mana, and then getting Surrak into play. Opponent's just going to disc right now. Not going to beat around the bush. Opponent's going to float some mana. Yeah, our stuff gets blown up. Well, been a weird game. Messed up our land play on turn 1. Thought I had the win. Did not have the win. And opponent going to rebuild a little bit. Soul Ring into Pearl Medallion. Right now, the question for us is really just, can we hit more lands? If we can get to the mana to get Gilded Lotus, then we have Praetor's Council waiting for us. And I would probably use that Praetor's Council pretty soon to get these things back. Unless some other stuff shows up for us. Ronas is indestructible, by the way, so it stays put. Here comes Vial Smasher into play. Arbor Elf. Here's a Rootbound Crag. Lands are good. That'll give us 4 mana. The only thing we can do with 4 mana is go Walking Ballista X2. Actually, yeah, so let's go Forest first. Play the Walking Ballista. Next turn we can get the Gilded Lotus. That makes me happy. We can also get our Commander after that. Probably going to shoot the Arbor Elf just to keep the partner opponent nice and slow. Also, if the white player plays anything, I will shoot that as well, assuming it has 1 toughness. Llanowar Elves for the mono green opponent. Ooh, that's a Nissa. Gross. It's going to make an 0-1 plant token, sure. Comes a Desert of the True for opponent. Baird back to play. Think it's time to start brokering some deals with opponent. Tell opponent I think we can come to an understanding about that Arbor Elf. Prismatic Vista for opponent. Yep. Here's a Teamer Ascendancy for opponent. That's a good one. Who gets the damage? Vial Smasher gets the mono green opponent. And here comes Teamer Ascendancy. Probably a good card for this deck. I can't remember if it's in here or not. Ooh, that's an Is It Boiler Works. It's a little bit slow for what we need in this exact second, but it'll keep us going, which I do like. It essentially acts as 2 lands and 1 card, which, given our current situation, is actually pretty good. So, play the Rootbound Crag. Choice here is Gilded Lotus or Surrak. I feel like the removal's probably gone, so I think it's a good time for Gilded Lotus. And that'll open us up to the possibility of potentially making multiple plays next turn, which I like. Opponent's going to untap our Forest. So with that actually allows us to put an extra counter on the Walking Ballista. Going to swing into the Nissa. Going to put an extra counter on the Ballista. I thought about shooting some of the stuff, but opponent can just make another token on their turn, so I'm like, not super ready to do that just yet. So we'll eat a plant. Maybe if Baird wants to join the fight, then that could be pretty reasonable. We're going to shoot this Llanowar Elf. Opponent is first in the turn order, so cutting back their mana, even if it's just 1, is still potentially a very good thing. It could keep them off the big turn. So Llanowar Elf's down. That's a Strip Mine from opponent. It seems bad. Opponent's going to play an Eternal Witness. Sure. Hardened Scales in their graveyard. I assume that's the one they go with. Yeah, going to get the Hardened Scales. Opponent plus with the Nissa. Oh, yeah, that puts 2 counters on everything. That's kind of an issue. Yep, Rona's coming our way. Cool. Book of Wrath for opponent. Yeah, I would sign up for that right now. 100%. Would love to draw some cards. Baird coming our way. Not great. Not great. We get tagged for 2. Down to 27. 6 commander. Baird really putting the focus on us. We've got 1 shot with the Woodfall Primus. Second one if it dies. There's a lot of things worth shooting in play, though. We got Nissa and Hardened Scales. Pearl Medallion and Book of Wrath are both worth shooting. Some Lightning Greaves coming in for opponent. 2 damage. See who gets that. Teamer Ascendancy is also a bit scary. I think Baird took it. I didn't see. I don't think it was us. So there's about 6 good targets and, 2 at most that we can hit with the Woodfall Primus. Opponent's going to move the boots to the Vial Smasher. Sure. Could use a big draw. Kiora's Follower is fine. Yeah, let's get Kiora's Follower in. Opponent's going to untap our Forest. Nice. That does make us 1 short on the Woodfall Primus. Play the Is It Boiler Works. Bounce the Island. And I think we just flash down... I think we shoot the Nissa and then flash down Surrak as we need to. So, Nissa down. If we Praetor's Council and Freed from the Real on the Kiora's Follower will make infinite mana with the Gilded Lotus. We pay 1 to untap it. We untap the Gilded Lotus and make 3 mana. Here comes Yorvo back to play. Yep. Rona's going to go the other way, finally. Eternal Witness into the Vial Smasher. Opponent's going to block the Ronas, trying to keep their life total high. See if maybe they're planning a board wipe or something. Opponent's going to draw with the Book of Wrath. Opponent says, take a look. It's in a book. Reading Rainbow. Yep, I'm going to draw cards, lose more life. Oh, that's an Hour of Revelation. No. Is opponent going to counter it? We're going to float a bunch of mana is what we're going to do. That's going to keep us off of our combo. So a lot of things getting blown up by that Hour of Revelation. Such a good card. Such a good card. Do you want to stop value engines and combo pieces and stuff like that? Hour of Revelation is a fantastic card. Oh, it makes me so happy. Makes me so happy. I mean, it hurts that we're losing all of our stuff, but You guys have seen those games where, like, I wait for the board wipe and no one ever casts one, so it just makes me so much happier to see that Hour of Revelation go off. And for me, I don't like dying to the first big thing that hits the board. I feel like if someone makes a big play, someone should cast removal somewhere to stop that, and, there should be some amount of, like, interaction back and forth, and that's the type of stuff that I like to see. When I'm looking for a game, I'm usually looking for a game to go, unless I'm playing some really high power stuff or competitive stuff. But for a setting like this, I'm really looking for a game to go about 10 turns. Turn 9, turn 10, that's about what I like to see. And then if you really get into a grinder, you start looking at turn 12, turn 13. That's just kind of my expectation, what I like to see out of a game of Commander, more interaction and not just try to race to the thing as fast as possible. And hope no one has interaction for it. But again, I do shift gears when I get into the more competitive settings, and then you got to be thinking about turn 5, turn 6, turn 7, but at least in those settings there is usually a lot of interaction anyway. Opponent's going to play a Reanimate on an Eternal Witness. Seems like a pretty good idea. Based on what's in their graveyard, I'd say probably the Teamer Ascendancy is where I'd be going. But also a bunch of lands and signets, plus an Arbor Elf. Anything that makes more mana, not going to be terrible. Also some Greaves, so reasonable choices for opponent. Yeah, they're just going for land. They want to keep making those land drops. I can understand that. Oh, hey, that's a finale of Devastation X2. I think opponent's just getting a mana dork. Here's what's crazy about... Well, there's a lot of things crazy about this card, but here's what's crazy about this card. Search your library or your graveyard. Seems like a little bit too much there. And also gets haste. Ugh, just so many things on that card. Yeah, opponent going for a Bloom Tender, so just trying to make more mana. Come on, card draw card off the top. It's a Terastodon. Terastodon does not hit creatures, and opponents have basically only lands in play. I hate it when people Terastodon my lands, so I'm not going to do that. Also, I'm not sure if we have the mana for it anyway, but I'm going to play this island. I'm going to do a mana count. 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, one short of the Praetor's Council. Yeah, I guess we can't actually do anything this turn other than attack. All the big stuff in hand, all of our ramp bits getting blown up. Not helpful when you are a ramp deck. Also, that Terramorphic Expanse from turn 1 coming back to bite us a little bit. Because if we Praetor Counciled right now, that's a lot of gas right there. I think we attack fish right here and try to hope we don't get strip mined by the green opponent is really what I'm after in this moment. Did I even introduce opponents, by the way? I don't know if I introduced opponents. It's been a weird game. We'll introduce them on turn 8. Why not? We got Epsilon Forte piloting Yorvo. They're doing a +1/+1 counter big green stompy thing. We've got Fish Said Fish piloting Baird, Steward of Argive, doing some little bit of Pillow Fort, little bit of stacks, little bit of board wipes. Mono white control is essentially the name of their game. And then we got Champion of Thune piloting Vial Smasher and Thrasios. Don't exactly know what they're up to. Feels combo-y in nature. I've seen only really a lot of value plays. It's going to be some sort of creature thing. There's a Finale of Devastation. Don't know exactly. Great Henge coming in for the Yorvo. That's a scary one. And going to recast their commander. Yep. Thran Dynamo for the Baird opponent. Great Henge, probably a great card for this deck. Also, I think the creature count's around 30 in this deck. Oh! Lodestone Golem, no. And a Star Compass. Non-artifact spells cost 1 more. Ugh. So now we need 2 lands to get to a lot of our big stuff. Luckily, opponents are all low on cards, but Yorvo's stuff is just big. Great Henge will win the grind right there. They just need to find a creature, and then, that whole engine gets going. It's a card that's an engine by itself. Gotta love it, right? Thrasios back to play. Come on, something big. Oh, opponent's got a Nykthos also. Oof. That's a land I would hit with Terastodon, but I'm not expecting Terastodon to come in this turn. Edric is a card. Does this thing have trample? It does have trample. Play Edric. Also, this incentivizes people to attack, not us. It does cost 1 more. So we'll tap a little bit differently for it. Cast Edric. We're going to swing into Fish Said Fish. I actually wouldn't mind targeting someone else right here, but there's some chance that they block with the Golem. Although, it's trample. But really, I want the card draw. And Champ helped us out a while back, so attacking them doesn't feel quite right in this moment. Opponent's going to soak up some damage. Oh, it doesn't have trample itself? That's... Wow. Add another punt to the list. I regret that play. Opponent activates a Great Henge. I mean, we have to hope that they're just on, all lands. Here comes a Farhaven Elf. Great Henge triggers. Yep, get the ball rolling. Here comes an Avenger of Zendikar. Cool. Is an ETB for each one? Non-token, okay. A couple ETBs going off. Great Henge, Yorvo, Avenger of Zendikar. Yorvo triggers many times. Uh-oh. Yorvo's got 16 power. Here comes a land for the landfall. See how he wants to attack. Ronas into the Vial Smasher. Yorvo into the Baird. This will put Baird to 1. Opponent's gonna block the Ronas. Opponent will get 1 trigger off the Edric. Opponent's gonna activate their Thrasios. It's a strip mine. The problem is there is a lack of there's a lack of traditional board wipes in this deck. We do have Teamer Ascendancy, but oh man, we need multiple pieces to make everything work. That's an Ulamog. Yeah, this deck needs a Blasphemous Act like no other. Opponent's gonna play a Nexus of Fate. Well, hopefully they find answers without just winning the game. Can activate their Thrasios. It's a Seedborn Muse. Yeah, that's exactly what we didn't want to see. I mean, that means that the green player probably has to go over there, though, which can buy us some time. Opponent's going to activate Thrasios. Still just a lot of power on board. It's a Biforce. Gets this Great Henge. Seems relevant. We have no artifacts. Opponent's going to strip mine the Nykthos. That is a good idea. Opponent's going to Biforce the Great Henge. Okay. That's a lot of big pieces down. Followed up with a board wipe. It's the Seedborn Muse. Oh, there is Ether Eyes and Ether Spouts in this deck. I would love to see one of those off the top. So that'll bring it back to our turn. Champ stuff on taps from the Seedborn Muse. Gonna activate the Thrasios. That's a Noxious Gear Hulk. Can't cast it until their next turn, but... we draw a comes in tapped! No! I guess we're attacking Champ. Reveals a Cabal Coffers. Thrasios again. Hits a land. We get an Edric trigger. Use the ability. We draw a Soul Ring is interesting. Play the Saltwater Cliffs. Gain a life. This hits non-creature permanents. This hits non-creature permanents. Yeah, I think the best we can do right now, I think we have enough to do this. If we go Soul Ring and then Praetor's Council. There's a lot of nasty stuff piling up on board, so opponents just going to have to make choices about where they're going to attack. And I'm kind of hoping that Thrasios finds some sort of instant speed removal. And we pass the turn. That's an Atali. That's a little bit too slow. It's a Watery Grave. It's a Nature's Lore. I think we all die to the green player right now. Yep, there's another land. This is probably enough power to kill everyone. Yeah, that's 27. That's lethal on us. Opponent can give things trample with the Ronas. Oh, yeah, that's Tooth and Nail. Cool. I think we're good to scoop it up here. Opponent's already got lethal. No one has any answers. Yeah, there's the hoof. So I made a lot of mistakes this game, which was obviously a big part of the equation. If I didn't miscrack that fetch early on, then we would have had our 8th mana much sooner, and we would have been able to either Praetor's Council or use Woodfall Primus or any of our big stuff. The fact that we messed that up is really what kind of screwed us. And we didn't draw any of our 6-drops. Like, all of these cards are so good, and we drew none of them. Oh, it was so frustrating. Like, we drew mostly lands, it felt like. Lands and I guess a couple dorks. But I think this deck does need a Great Henge, so we're going to add that. Yeah, there's 27 creatures in the deck. That seems like plenty for a Great Henge. I'm going to cut this Retachroma. Retachroma is the least good of all the big stuff in the deck.